And we're having technical difficulties already. All right. Hey there, guys. My name is Brandon, aka Suns Geek, and if it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. That is right, you guys. The Phoenix Suns win in a close one in Philadelphia against the Sixers, 116 to 113. And I said this before we went live, you guys. If Joel Embiid would have hit that shot, I would have ran to the NBA offices, grabbed the MVP trophy, and handed it to Joel Embiid myself. Same. What an incredible finish. Before we get started, you guys, you already know who Romp 2.0 is. He's been on this channel before. I've collaborated with him before. Romp, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. This loss hurt my soul because it was very winnable, even though we didn't have Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, but we're just missing foul shots. We're allowing an offensive rebound. Shout out to Mikal Bridges, one of the best in the league at getting random offensive boards just to piss me off. But yeah, I'm kind of sad about this game, but at the same time, I mean, Suns are just really good. They don't miss many shots.
And then first-time guest, and hopefully not last-time guest, is Steven, the Daily Drip, a Sixers YouTuber. Steven, do you want to tell them what you do on your channel? And once again, welcome to the channel. And I'm popping a beer open because happy belated birthday to you, man.
Yeah, happy birthday, bro.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Basically, guys, you look at Suns Geek, excuse me. I'm basically the Sixers equivalent, I guess you could say. Just,
cheers,
you know, reactions, all that stuff, all the Sixers and Philadelphia Eagles content for that matter that you could want. I'm a very emotional fan. You guys will see here really soon. I'm really interested to hear. That's why me and Romp, for that matter, we were doing a lot of post games. Hopefully gonna get back into that here soon. I thought we were a good match because I feel like he's the more level-headed, rational thinker, and I tend to be a guy who can get really stuck in the moment. So I'm kind of pissed that we lost this game, to be honest.
I am pissed too.
By the way, you guys, if you see something great in the chat, go ahead and say it because I'm looking at two different screens here. One thing that started me off with this game was the Sixers started off the game really good. The Suns got into foul trouble. They were missing shots. And then all of a sudden, the Suns went on a great response. The game was tied at 15. I'm kind of just looking over some notes for reference here. Like I said, this was just a close game, and we were kind of talking about it before we went live. I don't know how the Suns let them crawl back into the game. I don't know if that was just Joel Embiid being dominant or if it was just a matchup between two of the best teams in the league. You know, the Sixers, one of the best teams in the East. The Suns, one of the best teams in the West. Rump, you and I have talked about this a lot. Maybe we're just in a time and in an era where great offense just trounces great defense. So I don't really know if I have a question for you, but do you have any Romp, I'll start with you. Do you have any just thoughts of how the game ended?
I think Doc Rivers probably should have put Embiid in a little sooner because when Embiid's in, the defense is fortified. He's in the middle, guarding every pick and roll. I think that's another reason why D-Book had a tough night. Matisse Thybulle is going to get all the credit in the world, but a lot of times D-Book was in the pick and roll and Embiid was just there, and D-Book had to dribble out and try to reevaluate. Matisse did a great job, but with Embiid in the game, his defense is unbelievable, and I think Doc should have put him in sooner. But going to your point, I just think this is a three-point driven league. And having a center as your best player, as you saw tonight, Chris Paul just hit 2 dagger threes in like the fourth quarter, and it just hurt my soul. And it's hard to like have your best player like Embiid, who's just going for 2-point shots, and then you have D-Book and CP3 just hitting three-pointer after three-pointer. It's hard to match up against that, and that's the reality as a Sixers fan. Hopefully, we can overcome that, but it's scary because you saw tonight, you guys just kept hitting threes, and then we would have to go to Embiid in the post. And tonight we had no one who can get him the ball because we had Danny Green out there. He can't pass it to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's just tough. It's a 3-point driven league, and our best player is a center. So can we win with that? We're going to see.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Before we get to you, Steven, no Ben Simmons tonight, obviously. No Tobias Harris. I think Seth Curry was even out for you guys. Unfortunately, Jay Crowder left the game with an ankle injury. Hopefully he's okay. I mean, I just saw Trae Young just now just get hurt. We're in a league and in a time where players are dropping like flies. So, Steven, I'll just ask you the same question. What did you see from the end of the game? What are your thoughts on the game? I mean, it was a wild finish, man.
So before I dive into my point, shout out to James Duncan in the chat. He's one of my loyal subs. He's coming at me crazy if we had Ben, huh, Steven? Come on, man. Let's not act like you're the biggest Ben Simmons supporter now. I see you liking my negative Simmons tweets, man.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat too.
So I wanted to add to what Romp said. I thought he made a really good point on how, as we all know, the game is very 3-point centric. I think the game's been moving this direction as far as shooting, but I also think it's about having multiple ball handlers. And when you look at the Suns, like Chris Paul, and I will take one on the chin for this one, but he was a guy that the Sixers probably could have had a few years ago. He's been on the trade block, and we're all just like old, washed up, too much money. Well, let's just be honest, guys. Bro. Everywhere he's gone, he's made that team dramatically better. Like the Suns were fighting just to make the playoffs last year. Now what are they in the West? They're one of the top 3 seeds.
Yeah.
Number 2?
Yeah, number 2 in the West. 42 wins as of right now.
Unbelievable. So I couldn't imagine like when I just see, like, for example, George Hill, let's just touch on him really quick. I don't want to make this all about the Sixers, but I mean, I guess that's why you brought us on.
Yeah.
I don't know what you thought, Romp, but I'm gonna be honest. Like he looks rusty still, but just like, look how much of a difference he makes for his team.
It's a breath of fresh air, man.
Like, really just simple basketball, like shoot the 3 when it's open. I mean, the threes he hit were off the dribble, which I've never seen a Sixer player do since like Iverson, for being honest. Just easy offense. And Shake Milton's playing like, dude, he doesn't even.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's almost like as soon as Maxi's been back into the rotation, it's like the Space Jam thing where like his skills got sucked away from him in the mat. Like, I don't know, man. So we can't have both, apparently. Hopefully he gets it figured out because he's supposed to be the Sixers' sixth man.
I mean, I just look at the Suns and I just see players I want on my team. Like Mikal Bridges, he could dribble and hit a shot.
He was a Sixer.
We're running our pick and
for like 2 seconds.
We're running our pick and roll through Danny Green. Like there was a point in the game we were doing that, and that's just not going to work out too well. And Chris Paul is just we need to get a point guard, a real legitimate point guard around Embiid as soon as possible. Because if you look at the Sixers' past point guards, the best has been T.J. McConnell, and I don't consider Ben Simmons a point guard. So if anyone says in the chat, we need to get Embiid a legitimate point guard. That's been the problem for ages, and it's going to be a continued problem. And I wish I had Chris Paul on this team.
For those of you who are just joining us, I am live with Romp 2.0 and the Daily Drip, 276ers fans, so I need some backup here. So get active in the chat. Make sure to subscribe to Romp 2.0 and the Daily Drip. Links are down below in the description. How did I start off this chat without saying Hulk smash the like button, you guys? I'm off my game. I'm rusty. I'm just like George Hill, who, by the way, Doc Rivers, there was a quote on the broadcast. He said that George Hill does a lot of the little things. I've always been a big fan of George Hill. I thought he looked good tonight. I mean, but
one more thing I want to say is the fact that we're excited about George Hill just goes just goes to show you how thin we are at that position for years. But Sunsky, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah,
are you kind of upset about like the Suns only winning by 3 without Simmons and Tobias, or like what's your take on that?
That great question. I kind of wish Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris would have played tonight, because the Suns, I mean, it's hard to answer that because we're in a league full of injuries right now. I don't know if like this. What am I trying to say here? I wish they would have played because I would have wanted to see the Suns win with the Sixers at full strength. That's what I was trying to say. it sucks that we only won by 3, but there's a lot of fans out there who will say, oh, a win is a win, even if it's ugly. And like, yeah, I agree with you, but I'm like, we were up 7 with like 3 something left to go. You know, you guys mentioned it before, you know, Chris Paul was hitting those mid-range shots. He had like 24 points at one point. Also, Javon Carter hit like 2 back-to-back threes late in the fourth quarter. And Romp, we've had this conversation so many times, man. I question the Suns defense. And again, I don't know if it was Joel Embiid just taking over. But yeah, I'm glad we got the win. Go ahead, Steven. I guess I'm glad we got the win, but lots of things the Suns need to work on. Go ahead, Steven.
It sounds so familiar for me. Like, a win is a win, right?
Yep.
But
there's a lot of
if I was in
wins.
your shoes, I would be frustrated because I mean, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. I think you guys swept us this season. Am I not?
Yeah, because we beat you guys, I think,
and we were at full strength last time, right?
That's what I was going to say. It's
there
like,
you go.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, but it's like you guys were at full strength last time, and I'm pretty sure we were too. We had Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So go ahead, Steven. Finish your thought.
Yeah. So again, I just due to just, you know, being so focused with Sixers related things, I do watch other teams, but I don't really watch the Suns a lot. The eye test told me tonight, I hear you complain about the defense a lot, and I could see why. I guess Ayton's not really like. I mean, we're the Sixers, all right. We have Joel Embiid, who I think's top 2 at his position on both ends of the court.
Yep.
But when I watch the Suns team, I mean, they're just scrappy, man. They commit a lot of weird fouls. I was personally annoyed at watching them. I'm not sure if they always play like that. I don't know if it was just due to them playing the Sixers. We don't have like any ball handlers. So when you're facing a team like that, it's like, oh, just go take the ball. Matisse can't dribble. Korkmaz can't dribble. I know he dribbles a lot, but he can't dribble. Shake was really that concerns me, by the way, right? So this felt like an intense game, right? And that's what's going to happen in the playoffs. To me, Shake's always been a combo guard. I don't know why we've given him that point guard label. The Suns got up in his grill tonight, and he was uncomfortable. I think he shot like 2 of 10. That's concerning to me. I mean, I feel like we say this all the time. The Sixers just don't have enough ball handlers.
Yep. Yeah, we've been saying it for 5 years now. We might as well just not say anything, and like, because it's not gonna. We're just never gonna have a competent point guard ever. It's either he's not gonna be able to shoot, or he's going to have some type of disability. It's just how it is with the Sixers. It's our luck. But I kind of disagree with you, Suns Geek. I think the Suns defense was super annoying tonight, like you said, Steven. Mm-hmm. And their defense on Embiid, I never seen they actually fronted Embiid. Mm-hmm. And it was a smart game plan because we don't have enough passers who can actually pass to the post without Ben Simmons and Tobias. And I can't believe it, but I really, really miss Ben Simmons. I really miss him.
Yeah,
I miss Ben Simmons so much right now.
I'm getting that on.
It's crazy.
No way did Romp just say that.
I miss Ben Simmons so much, man. It's crazy, but I thought the Suns' defense was terrific. Like Embiid had 38, but he was 14 to 23. Still, I mean, Embiid's Embiid, but I feel like they triple teamed him when they had to. They doubled him. They fronted him. And that just shows like he's on another level right now, Embiid. He's getting 38 while getting triple teamed and stuff like that. But I think the Suns' defense was fine.
I remember there was one possession. I might have been in the third quarter. Like Embiid was going up. Ayton played okay defense on him, but I think it was Cameron Payne of all people and Mikal Bridges. They kind of just triple teamed him, if you will, and it caused Embiid to turn the ball over. I remember that sequence in particular, but yeah, just good defense. I guess I might just have a little too high of expectations for defense because Steven, I'm an NBA historian, and a lot of this game reminded me of an old school basketball game. It was low scoring. Guys were getting to the free throw line despite the Sixers' troubles at the line, which I will talk about later. You know, guys were getting to the line. They were attacking. This was kind of a weird 3-point shooting game, too. I mean, the Suns didn't shoot too well from 3 at the start of the first half, but then they picked it up. I'm just reading some stats here. The Sixers in the first half had 7 threes. They were 7 for 15. The Suns had 5 turnovers in the first half, but what your Sixers did really well was they were scoring points off the Suns' turnovers, even though it was a low amount of turnovers. By the way, if you can hear my dogs barking, I apologize about that. One thing that stood out to me, and again, I'm looking at the notes here, the last Sixers lead was at the 81-79 mark. So again, really, this might have just been a game with two of the league's best defenses in the league. Joel Embiid, like you guys said, he had 38, 17, and 4, 14 for 23.
8 turnovers, though.
Yeah,
I
turnovers.
was just going to point that out. Yep.
And then I think he's averaging 11 free throws per game, and he finished with 8 or 9.
And
so
I think a lot had to do with the reason he wasn't getting to the line is because they were fronting him, and he couldn't really get the ball in the post, so he had to work outside a lot tonight because there's no one to get him the ball. And that's a really good game plan by the Suns.
Yeah,
that was smart.
And even though Embiid bullied Sarge on some plays, Dario Saric, he has a way of disrupting Embiid at times. I thought he tried his best, but Dario did get into some foul trouble. Steven, you got any thoughts on just anything we've talked about in the last few minutes?
Those were all really good points. This is concerning, again, as a Sixers fan, the turnovers, right? Because it's inevitable, man. Embiid's going to get doubled in the playoffs, and like Luke pointed out, this was a different kind of strategy. Like he said, fronting, which again, that might be to, not having Ben and Tobias and a few other guys that can make entry passes. But, when the playoffs come around, teams are going to experiment. It's a best of 7 series, and look, 8 turnovers, man. There was a couple situations Joel does this, man. There's times where you're just like, Joe, what are you doing, man? The one time he had Matisse wide open in the corner, and I think he had thrown it to the ref. I don't know if he got it mixed up or what, what the situation was.
Funny.
In a larger sample size this season, he's been better at dealing with that. We know. I mean, he had an 8 assist game the other night. So, it's not every night you're not going to have Ben and Tobias. But look, I mean, it's frustrating to me that we lost this game because, as we know, Devin Booker has a career average of at least 30 points per game against us. What did he finished with? 19 points on 14 shots, and I felt like Matisse was really disrupting him. So I just hate when there's wasted efforts, because I feel like the next time we face the Suns, Devin Booker he's gonna go off, man. He's gonna get 30 plus. So no moral victories for you, Steven. Is that what you're saying? I don't usually do that. There's rare cases that I do.
That's fair.
I think you can make the argument for this one because, again, if you look, missing, I guess you could say 3 of our best 5 players, missing 3 starters, lost by 3. If I told you Joel turned the ball over 8 times, you would have thought we got killed. Yeah. So I guess that's a good way to put it from our perspective.
And go ahead, Ron.
But at the same time, Steven, do you trust passing to Matisse Thybulle, who's a 20% 3-point shooter? I think with better players out there, Embiid would have made more passes tonight. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, 8 turnovers.
Oh, so you're saying because it seemed like he hesitated to make the passes.
And the Sixers even adjusted to try to get they try to do this thing where they put Matisse in the middle and they posted Embiid low, and Matisse literally couldn't even make that pass. No one on the team could make the pass. So just tonight without Simmons and Tobias, I mean, I think 8 turnovers is a lot, but it's kind of as expected with the Suns defense, just triple teaming him as much as they possibly could.
What's interesting too is, obviously no Simmons and Harris and Seth Curry, but Booker's been kind of in a funk. Yes, Matisse Thybulle did lock down Devin Booker, but Booker has been struggling. And somehow, some way, the Suns are still getting victories, even though he's been, quote, struggling. Good. And, there's games where he puts up 20 points, but he shoots 9 for 20 or something like that. And again, that's why I really wish I would have. That's why I really wish I would have seen Ben Simmons and Harris and Seth Curry out there. Romp, I know that you have kind of been a Seth Curry critic. Do you think if Seth would have played in particular, if the game would have been any different? I mean, or even all 3 of them? What do you think? Do you think Do you think the Suns still would have won? I mean, it's obviously unpredictable to answer that, but
I think
What
it's
do
a
you- what
whole
do you think?
different dynamic if the good players play. I don't think the
Yeah.
Sixers get off to that hot start because I feel like the Suns were kind of sleepwalking in the beginning. So I don't really know. I think like when teams don't have their star players, teams kind of sleep on them.
yeah,
Hence the NBA, you're going to take advantage of it. So I can't really answer if we would have won.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of a tough
And
question.
you,
but I just thought I'd
we
ask.
lost to you guys in the first matchup too, but I just want to shout out Cam Johnson.
Yes, I forgot to talk
He
about
is
him.
the most overlooked Sun, in my opinion. His defense is incredible.
Yep.
He had 15 points tonight. I swear, I never seen him miss a shot.
He was
When he's open, it's going in. It's crazy.
It's
And his
funny. He was
defense is
3
really
for
good.
9 tonight, but it didn't seem like he was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think some nights he's better than Bridges. Like in my opinion, some nights.
Shout out to Super Mario Hoops, another fellow NBA YouTuber. 76ers didn't really have anybody to create for others and act as the true point guard. That's where they need Ben because it puts a lot of pressure on Embiid or Milton otherwise. And no disrespect to Joel Embiid, but I 100% agree that Joel Embiid shouldn't be playing point guard. I don't care if he's the MVP of the league. He shouldn't be doing that. And that's where Romp knows this, Steven. I'm not a big fan of what they call point Booker. That's just me personally. We've seen point Booker before, and I remember I was his biggest critic at the start of the year, Steven. This guy was leading the league in turnovers. Booker was just bad to start the year, and I know I'm a Suns fan, and I'm normally
killing
like
Booker, man. Chill.
Gosh, I'd love the guy on my team.
hey,
Please.
give us Embiid, and then we might. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
Ben, you could have Ben, bro.
I'm just kidding. But I don't know where I was really going with that. But I guess what I'm saying is no point Embiid, no point Booker. You guys need.
I like point Embiid though.
Really?
I think sometimes he said this in the interview with Zach Lowe. He can see the whole court, and teams really can't double team him when he's at the top of the key. Now, I'm not saying he should run it the whole time, but he's really comfortable in terms of pulling up off the dribble. So I like when he dribbles because you can't really post up every possession nowadays. And he's going to get turnovers like that. He's going to get offensive fouls because if he uses his whole force, he's just going to push someone over and it's going to be a charge. We've seen that in the playoffs in the past. So he has to adjust his game to today's NBA. In today's NBA, you have to be able to dribble as a top-tier center.
I agree about the no posting up thing because I kind of brought up that one possession earlier when like Campaign and Bridges ran over to help Ayton on Embiid and he turned the ball over. Especially in a league like this, it's hard to go to the post every single possession. I'm just kind of looking at here. Shout out to a burner account. This guy's always in here leaving funny comments. This guy is hilarious. Steven, you got any additional thoughts here?
Burner is a savage.
What do you say?
That is messed
Yo,
up,
I just now read it. Jeez.
bro.
I
I love
here we
Burner,
go.
bro.
Romp looking like he's
Dude, we might have to. That's an all timer.
Bro, you can get banned for that.
Yeah, you gotta be careful, guys.
Burner, I love you, man, but I might have to ban. I'm gonna have to mute you for that one.
no.
Put user in timeout.
Hey, bro, I like it. That's some old school stuff, you know. I like it.
The old school humor, right?
Yeah.
Everything kind of. Yeah, that's a good point.
I can
Well,
take a
'cause this-
joke, bro. I'm just gonna come at Burner next time.
It's because this game reminded me of an old school game.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I'm trying to see what else we could discuss. Romp, can I put you on? No, Steven, we haven't talked. I feel like you haven't said anything for a little bit. Did you want to go on any rants or anything that you wanted?
Yeah,
to
actually,
talk
because
about?
I just remembered.
I might full
Perfect
screen
timing. And you had the
Yeah,
word
'cause I was
rant.
kind of
Yeah.
running out. I was like, I don't know what we should talk about. I feel like we've talked about everything.
So I kind of hinted at this before the stream, but I just wanted to say, like, this drives me nuts. So Sixers fans have been in. Wow. Okay, he's highlighting this. All right. Pressure's on. Sixers fans have been in denial for I don't know. It's been 3 years, right? Ever since we drafted and then traded Bridges, and I log on to Twitter and I saw I can't remember who it was. It just came across my timeline. They're like, "Oh man, Bridges really just missed a wide open layup and then he airballed a shot." Guys, Bridges is basically Furkan Korkmaz, except he brings it on. Well, okay, I don't want to Sorry, Romp.
Don't go at Furcon like that.
This guy is so good. Like he would start on the Sixers team. I'll tell you that right now. I'd start him on both ends. The size, versatility, 3-point shooting.
Perfect.
He makes all the little plays. Like Shake Milton, there was a loose ball. He completely babied him and got an offensive rebound. It's just those little plays. And when the games are close, those are the plays that need to be made. And for whatever reason, Sixers fans are in denial. They're like, "Oh, we'll be fine. He's a 4-year guy." You know what I mean? He's just going to be a spot up shooter and play a little bit of defense. I mean, he's far from that. I feel like he's one of the most improved guys in the league, man. From what I see, I don't know how you feel about him, Suns Geek. I am so jealous. And he played for Nova too. Hometown kid.
It doesn't make his mom worked for us too.
Oh.
And then we traded for Zaire Smith, and he nearly died because he had an allergy infection or whatever.
And I'm not going to hold that against him, but it's the fact that he's not an NBA player at all.
Yeah, it's just. I mean,
by the way,
that's just bad GMs. But luckily, we actually have a good GM now.
If I can just go on a small nitpick rant about the whole draft day trade and his mom worked for the Sixers, that's just the business of the NBA, okay? I'm sorry. It just that bugs me when people are like, "Oh,
nah, that's inexcusable."
The Sixers.
How you trading Bridges, bro? If we had Bridges, oh my! If we had Bridges, Ben Simmons, Tobias, Joel Embiid, Matisse Thybulle, how are you scoring on us? Danny Green,
By the way, I saw a funny tweet. I think it was from Dave DeFore, who was like, he said something like, "It's not fair to have Danny Green and Matisse Thybulle." You know what I mean? I was like, that's kind of funny.
And Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I think we're the best defensive team, in my opinion.
I guess my defensive expectations are if you're the quote best defensive team in the league, teams shouldn't be crawling back into games, but that just goes to show how high powered offense this league is. I mean, maybe I'm just old school because back in the day, man, teams would clamp you up. You wouldn't be scoring over 100 points most games. I mean, seriously, go back and look at the 90s, man. I get it. We're in a whole new league now. We're in the 3-point NBA era, especially with Steph Curry, you know what I mean, who's playing lights out right now.
He ruined my night the other night.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
How do you think Aiden played, Suns Geek?
Good question. Thank you for putting me on the spot. I think he tried. I'm going to full screen myself so that, that way the pressure's not all on you guys. I know that I've been dropping questions on you guys, so I appreciate you responding. Very good. But as far as Deandre Ayton, let me look at the stats real quick because I was multitasking when I was watching the game. 29 minutes, 10 points, 5 rebounds. I think he tried his best on Joel Embiid, and Ayton's been playing really good. He was nominated for Player of the Week. He's been playing with a lot of consistency, aggressiveness, attacking, hitting those mid-range shots that he loves to take. But what can you really do about Joel Embiid? I mean, they were talking about it on the broadcast that Joel Embiid is just built different. I mean, if Embiid played in the 90s, I know I keep talking about that, he would have been like Hakeem. I know Sixers fans love to compare Embiid to Hakeem Olajuwon. You know what I mean? It's he played great, but Ayton had an off night. It just is what it is. If you even want to call it an off night, I mean, he did have some moments where he looked good, but not really the Ayton that we've seen as of late. And Steven, I know that you don't really follow the Suns too much, but Ayton has had a really roller coaster of a year, a ladder of a year. I made a whole video basically criticizing the guy, and I swear to God that he watched it because after that video, he started playing better.
He's the Ben Simmons of the Suns.
Exactly.
There you have it.
And I was so thankful to Romp for making that video because I was now I don't feel like an asshole. I'm sorry to cuss on my stream, but I was man, I kind of roasted the guy, and now he's playing better. And then Simmons started struggling, and like Rom said, Simmons is kind of the Ayton of the Suns, but yeah, I thought he was okay. He can have an off night. I'll tell you this though, I was reading some stats. When he guards Giannis Antetokounmpo, Giannis shoots under 40%, and Giannis struggled against Ayton.
That's why Embiid's better than him. Sorry.
All right, Rom, I'm gonna call you out now. go ahead and go on your little load management rant.
Oh, load management? No, I don't have
Oh,
anything to say
wow.
about that. I was joking, Sunsky. Now you're putting me on the
Oh,
spot.
come
I'm
on,
nervous.
bro.
That's like me.
I got nothing to say.
I joke about the load management thing too all
This
the
guy's
time.
like
And
this guy's like, oh, I want to go on a rant about load management. But I will say this: former sharpshooter Eddie Johnson was on the Suns broadcast, and he was like, back in my day, he's like, players would never sit out for a big game like this, and he's
Yeah, that's what I'm
100%
saying.
right. Like, if you have COVID, obviously, yeah, but I don't know. It's the league is in a really strange place. I was talking to Romp about this. I mean, Trae Young did just get out with an injury, and Jay Crowder is hurt too. But like, if stars keep falling, maybe we can criticize the league. But I don't want to criticize the NBA because of all these injuries, because there's injuries all the time. And sure, it might be a coincidence, LeBron's out, et cetera. But Steven, do you have any thoughts on just players getting hurt this season? If it's just a coincidence or if it is bad timing, what are your thoughts on that? I know we're kind of jumping all over the place with the live stream, but that's just a Suns Geek live stream.
I've always had like mixed feelings with load management. When did this start? I feel like load management started like
Kawhi.
towards the end of the Spurs era. I
Yep.
feel like Pop started doing it for obvious reasons. I mean, Tim Duncan, the players were aging, right? Tim Duncan, a lot of those guys had kind of injury. I don't want to say injury riddled careers, but they were piling up. And as a Sixers fan, my mindset can kind of be a little kind of brainwashed with it because we've had Embiid, and preserving him has always been priority number one. This season's weird too, right? Like,
Yeah, it's a
the whole
weird
COVID
year.
situation. It's hard to really say. You know what I mean? And a lot of players are taking like personal days. You're really seeing that with like the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. My thing is like the regular season has kind of slowly lost its value. Where the issue is, and I think they're really lucky, and I think that the league may step in probably next season, because they're lucky fans haven't really been able to attend games, because if players are starting to, you know what I mean? When people really start paying their hard-earned money for these tickets, and these players are sitting out, not just games, but like national televised games. I'm pretty sure this was one of them. It was on NBA TV. That becomes an issue. I mean, the Sixers didn't have Tobias and Ben, two guys who are arguably all-stars, right? So, this season may be an outlier, but if they do this next season, meaning the players, where they take personal days or whatever the case may be, I don't see how the league lets that fly, man, and even the fans for that matter.
Yeah,
I think if the Nets win the championship, the NBA is in a really weird place because they are not taking the regular season seriously. Like, the NBA better vote for the Suns or the Sixers, because when Embiid's healthy, he's actually playing. Like, he hasn't really load managed this year. He just got injured. He probably won't play tomorrow because it's back-to-back. That's like, I don't have a problem with load management if it's like back-to-back. Right. But like, if it's a national TV on a Friday night game and you're out with
one
like
of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, like you're out with I don't know, an illness or whatever, like just play the game, bro. Like, you're getting paid a lot. And I hate to be that guy, you're getting paid, but the truth is, dude, if you're not injured, play. Like, you're
exactly
like a lot of times fans really just want to sit back.
Well, why can't they just I don't mean to interrupt, but why can't they just suit up? Just suit up, play. Right. Like, it doesn't have to be your normal 30+ minute night.
True. That's a good point. I never even thought of that.
I don't know. I feel like that's where the injuries come.
Booker. I'm just kidding. Booker's injured.
Roy has a great question.
Let's see what he said. Shout out to Roy, by the way. Oh, wait, that's a burner. Roy was once on this channel on a live stream, so shout out to Roy, longtime subscriber and supporter of mine. Romp and Daily Drip. Would you trade Ben Simmons?
You want to start, or should I start?
I feel like we're gonna have the same opinion.
Yeah, I think I already.
I feel like if this team, like, we get to the postseason and it really feels like this team can really win it, and I just have this awful feeling, and I hope it's not true. Like, everybody just thinks I'm like preying on Simmons' downfall for whatever reason. It's my fear, guys. I am terrified that he might be the reason we fall short in the postseason. And if I get that sense, because a lot of us Sixers fans, and I kind of want to hear Suns Geek's opinion once we get out of this topic on just Ben Simmons, the player.
Mhm.
A lot of us feel like he hasn't really improved much at all on the offensive end of the court his entire career. And you're seeing so many guys just take their game to the next level. I would entertain a trade. I wouldn't say I would trade it this offseason.
I would trade him. I'm pretty much done with Ben Simmons, to be honest, unless he locks up Kevin Durant in the conference finals. But I'm on board that.
Just reference them to your video, bro.
I think we need to trade him. Unless we win the championship. If we win the championship, I'm not talking about the Sixers for 10 years. I don't care. That's all I want in my life. And if we win, I'm fine. Ben Simmons could stay, play Call of Duty all he wants. But if we lose,
he did vow. This man really vowed that we were going to win a title this year. You better go win the damn thing.
And he's talking so much trash. Why is he saying this? He's saying I should be the defensive player of the year. He's like, the Brooklyn Nets don't play defense. Why are you talking? Out of all the players, whenever players talk like that, it usually comes to bite them in the butt. But I just hate that. And you see what he said about the haters too? Our guy DJ Eastwood made a video on it.
Shout out to DJ Eastwood.
Great Sixers YouTuber, by the way.
Go check him out, guys.
But Simmons was like, Simmons is out to prove that he could be the player he is without shooting a jump shot. He thinks he could just not shoot and we could win. He's out to prove the haters wrong. I'm done with him. But Suns Geek, what are your opinions on Ben Simmons?
Romp, this is a mixed bag for me. Before you released that video, I was a big Ben Simmons defender. To be honest with you guys, I didn't really know how great of a defender he was. I thought he was just a triple-double machine waiting to happen, because I guess I was looking too much at the numbers and not really at his play. In my opinion, he shouldn't have been an all-star. I've told Romp this before. I was like, it should have been Tobias Harris in there.
That makes three of us then.
Yeah, exactly. Tobias Harris, that's why I wish he would have played in this game. But to answer the question, Simmons is a mixed bag for me. And you guys kind of said it perfectly. It's really the way that he hasn't developed, you know what I mean? And fully grown, and is for some reason scared to take a three-point shot and let his offensive game flow. But I guess a few seasons ago, I loved the guy. But since you guys are so close to reaching the finals and Sixers fans have the highest expectations for the guy, this is where it's Ben Simmons is the Deandre Ayton of the Suns. They expect so much out of him, and you need to grow. You need to get that offensive game. You need to be more than just a better defender. You need to step up your game. And it's at first I was like, oh, Ben Simmons, Suns fans would love him. And then Romp made that video and kind of opened my eyes. And, I don't know about the whole, he should be defensive player of the year thing. I think Simmons is just, his confidence might be a little high. Hopefully that answer your guys' questions. As far as trading him, my cop-out answer, and this goes for anybody. You could ask me, oh, do you want to trade DeAndre Ayton? My cop-out answer is, what's the package for?
Yeah.
Come up with some trade ideas. Don't go to the ESPN trade machine, but come up with some legit ideas, and maybe we'll talk trades for Ben Simmons, but I don't know.
You saw tonight that Embiid is our most impactful defender. We had a bunch of just random role players out there, and we were locking up the Suns at some points, and they're top 10 offense in the league. That's a lot of people are like, you lose Simmons, you lose a lot of defense. But imagine you get a ball handler, an elite ball handler in return. It's do we really lose that much on defense when we can have an elite shot maker?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, Steven?
That was for example, I'm not sure how how much you were paying attention. I guess it was way prior. I don't know if it was the deadline. No, it was way prior to the trade deadline. When Harden was when the rumors really started ramping up, right? And I was honestly I was always no, I'm not trading Simmons for Harden, as good as he is. But then I was sitting there. I was actually at work on break, and I'm sitting in my car, and I'm like, what am I thinking? This team's in first place. James Harden's been an MVP candidate, arguably the best scorer in the league. I'm like, is this really what are we thinking about here, right? I was 50-50. So again, for me, I got to see the postseason. I'm willing to give him, Ben Simmons, the benefit of the doubt. Thank
you, Steven. Thank you.
Yeah, like maybe we do win the championship and he's not shooting jump shots. Maybe him in the dunker spot, right? Maybe that just like changes the entire half court offense somehow when our best player needs the rim. I mean, obviously Embiid, stepping out, shooting threes and mid-range shots. So I don't know. I got to see the postseason. I'm willing to give Ben and the coaching staff too the benefit of the doubt here.
See, Steven, that's the thing. You guys know Ben Simmons way more than I do, so I can't really talk. But I told Romp this. I'm like, maybe Ben Simmons is just cruising. Maybe he's just waiting for the playoffs to start, and maybe he'll step it up a second gear. But Romp's like, no.
No.
Well, wait. Like,
he's not cruising.
We all agree. Like, we
defense?
can agree. Winning cures everything, though, right?
That,
like Ben doesn't have to take a single jump shot this postseason. Like, not even a mid range, not even a three. If this team just goes and wins the title, I won't care. Now, maybe I'll care if he averages like 11 or 12 points per game. Then I'm like, well, this guy just coasted, man.
I wouldn't even care if we won the title. I would be like, I would forget about everything and just go on a hiatus for like a month.
Winning cures everything.
Yeah, but the thing is, we built a roster where we could win with Ben being Ben. But if we had the elite Ben Simmons like he was in that 1 month where he averaged 21 points and 9 assists, like the expectations from Philadelphia fans aren't unfair. Like we've seen him play unbelievable, and he just doesn't do that consistently. And that's the thing. And you guys are the Suns fans are very inconsistent with their love of Deandre Hayden because he's inconsistent. And if you want to be a star player in this league, the most important thing is being consistent. So it's like, I don't know. Do the Suns?
I'm just glad you didn't say the best ability is availability. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on that.
The best ability is ability.
There you go. Oh, you listen to the Ricky.
The best.
I don't even know where I was going to go with all that. I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way, because this is a Suns YouTube channel. From my perspective, right? You offered your open mind with Ben Simmons. I'll offer it with Deandre Ayton. I'll just put it this way.
Please.
From what I'm
full screening you.
Okay. This is the thing I don't like about the modern NBA. It seems like the prototype for centers is just rim runners, right? Protect the rim, rebound. Ayton can do both of those. I don't want to say he's necessarily elite at protecting the rim. I mean, he seems pretty solid at both. Could he improve? Yeah. But like when I look at him, I see a talented player. Like if you locked Deandre Ayton and like Rudy Gobert in a gym, like Deandre Ayton's going to torch him one-on-one. It's just the reality of it. It's an offensive driven league. Like the fact that he can step out and shoot a mid-range shot, that's impressive to me. I like his offensive game. So like, the fact that he's probably, what would you say, your third or fourth best player on the Suns? Like, yeah. And he's young too. So, I mean, I'd feel happy. Like, obviously you would love for this guy to just develop and be like a top, 5 player at his position. But I mean, I'm positive that he's much better than a lot of the centers in this league from my perspective. Obviously, 10-5. I mean, he's matched up against Joel. What are you going to do?
And one thing, I even said this in that video where I was criticizing him. I gave him his due. I gave him his credit. But what was he had that whole suspension thing. I'm sure you remember that. Then COVID obviously interrupted things. So in a way, Ayton's really only in his like second and a half year, if you think about it, because he was drafted in 2018. He's only 22 years old, but the thing that has been the problem with Ayton, and I was saying this since the preseason, I was like, it's really his engagement from game to game. And I feel kind of bad because after I made that video, it was released that he had a child. So I was like, oh, he was probably like not sleeping and was super busy and all that. But still, no excuses. You're in the NBA. You're the number 1 overall pick. You should be out there every single game dominating. And again, maybe we had too high of expectations for him, especially when Joel Embiid might win MVP this year. And we're looking at Deandre Ayton like, oh, you're only averaging like 15 and 10. You know what I mean? Like you can do that in your sleep. And
that's what he's averaging this year, 15 and 10?
I think so. Like last time
I checked the numbers. I think that's more points per game than Ben Simmons is averaging, and he's our third best player.
Welcome to the Ben Simmons roast.
I mean, your third best player, right around 15 points per game. I mean, that's his best trait, though, right? Scoring the ball. You would say
he can kind of
Defense.
do it all. I mean, defense, dunking, rebounding, because the Suns
how's
are a
his
horrible
3-point shot?
rebounding
Did he
team.
take any? I don't think he took
He
any.
doesn't. He's experimented, and it's
It
kinda
looks
failed.
awkward.
Yeah, it's a
It looks
okay.
awkward.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's so confident that he'll take those threes, but he does it in the worst times, and then the other team will go on like an 8-0 run or something like that.
Do you think he's confident? When he takes those, it looks like he doesn't want to. It's just like,
he just kind of chucks them up.
Yeah, I don't know if he's confident, but I thought Aiden played well tonight. Like, he's not going to be able to move Embiid in the post. So, like, plus the Suns' game is just pick and roll with Chris Paul.
Hit the
And
mid-range.
and when he got shots, he hit them. He shot like 4 of 8. So I thought Aiden was fine tonight. The thing that is interesting to me with the Suns is if you sign Aiden long term, they might switch their play style once Chris Paul is gone, and he might be that second option.
Yeah.
And if he's the second option, is he good enough to do that? Because you saw last year he averaged like 20 points or something when he was like.
And he played
when they
great
were
in the
going to
bubble
him.
too. I know that there was a lot of great bubble performances, but he played great in the bubble.
So I don't know. Aiden's kind of like, I think they're gonna sign him because like, what's the other option? The thing about centers in the NBA is there's not a lot of good ones. Like there's good centers like Nerlens Noel, but he's just one dimensional. He can only protect the rim. Like Aiden can score here and there. He's got a nice mid-range shot. And also there's like centers like Rashawn Holmes who like he's pretty good at defense, but like there's not much depth at the center position. That's probably why you're seeing Jokic and Embiid dominate this year, because every night I feel like they're going up against a 125-pound center looking like Suns Geek. You know what I'm saying? Like Embiid has a mismatch every night. Like when you post, I saw a graphic. I saw a graphic on the Sixers telecast. They put up whenever Embiid posts up, 32% of the time teams double him, and that just goes to show like the new NBA. The centers are skinny now. They have to guard 1 through 5.
They shoot threes.
Yeah, it's coming back to bite a lot of teams because they can't match up with Jokic and Embiid physically. It's just too much.
And, like, because you guys know me, I'm a big NBA historian. It's like maybe because there was a lot of criticism because the Suns didn't make like a trade deadline trade for a big man, because we have like Dario Saric and Frank Kaminsky, coming off of our bench. I'm like, maybe the Suns just believe that they can do this, even if they had to match up with Jokic or an Embiid or something like that. I'm like, maybe they're just embracing the small ball. But I agree with you, Romp. It's like, I think some of the play style from the big men and the way that the big men is trending, it might come back to bite him, because Joel Embiid, he's the exception to that, man. He's an old school dominant center, and I can't believe it, but he might win MVP.
And the scary thing is his new play style, I don't think he's going to get injured that much the way he's playing. I don't like in his earlier years, he was jumping through the stands, trying to block shots and stuff like that. Now he's much more controlled. And when he got injured against the Wizards, that was just a fluke situation. But what are your thoughts on that, Steven?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It seems he's a physical player, but he's got a lot of finesse. It seems like he only makes contact when he needs to. Like, it felt like in past years, he was just like, all right, I'm just going to get the ball and just run guys over. Now it's like he's trying to draw contact, get to the free throw line. It's quick decisions. So, I personally love it. I wanted to touch on something really quick on the Suns' perspective, because that's interesting, actually. Like, just seeing how much of an impact Chris Paul has made just due to how he sees the floor. Like, to me, like, it's weird. Actually, I'm not like, so I would love Devin Booker on my team. He's an awesome player and everything like that. But I thought he would be a better off-ball player than I imagined. Now, obviously, like, the Suns are doing really well, top 3 in the East, or excuse me, the West. And they seem like a well-balanced team, good three-point shooting, good defense. But like you said, Booker's been in a slump lately. And some guys, like, I guess he's a scorer first. I thought coming into the league early on, I'm like, oh, this guy's a shooter. He's a Klay Thompson player.
Yep.
But no, he's more of a ball-dominant player. And Chris Paul I would much rather Chris Paul be the lead ball handler, because he makes the guys around him better. And I think I'm assuming that's why you didn't like point point Booker, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've been a critic of that.
When is Chris Paul? Is he a free agent after this season?
Good question. I think he can opt out.
Give me a second. My AirPods just died. Unbelievable.
It's okay. I'll keep going here. I don't know if you can still hear me, but I don't know how AirPods work because I'm old school and I got these headphones here.
I missed everything I was just said.
It's okay. From Walmart? I was just saying. I'm old school and I have like actual headphones.
Five Below.
So to answer your question, Chris Paul, I think he can opt out, but I guarantee you he's going to sign with the Suns. I don't think the Suns would have. Chris Paul wanted to come to the Phoenix Suns. He signed this deal to stay with the Phoenix Suns. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Did you see the way he was looking at Embiid tonight?
Yeah, he's going to call Joel Embiid and tell him to come to the Suns, and they're going to trade him.
Hey, bro, I'm going to be honest. I'm more of an Embiid fan than a Sixers fan at this point.
Dude, Steven, you know this, dude. It is true. Romp has like a man, like that picture of Boban. I love Boban, but you got to get a picture of Embiid back there. Can we just highlight real quick the beautiful? Look at that. It's like
he's my spirit child.
I just love it. It's so simple. Maybe I should just take off all these legends on this wall and just put a picture of Mikal Bridges up there or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
or actually, Steven, Javon Carter. That
yes.
guy single-handedly won the game. He hit like 3 straight corner. I love Tyrese Maxey. Luke, what the heck was he doing?
Maxey played great, by the way. Steven, I don't mean to cut you off, but before we talk about Javon Carter and Tyrese Maxey, were you going somewhere with the Chris Paul free agency thing? Did I answer your question?
You asking me?
Yeah.
So I was all over the place. My thing was basically, I was gonna ask you before everything cut out. I was like, depending on how this postseason goes for the Suns, like, how do you view that? Like, is it a situation like obviously you'd want to re-sign him, and like, is it a situation where it's like, man, this postseason the Suns are close, they're just one piece away? Do you like entertain the idea of maybe trading Ayton because he's such a young player with a lot of potential for a guy who's ready to win now? You know what I mean?
Oh God, I feel like that's kind of been
the conversation.
The conversation like all season long with Suns fans, because I had a subscriber of mine ask me a great question that kind of led to that Ayton criticism video. He was like, who do the Suns sign for a max extension, Bridges or Ayton? And I feel like we could have our own hour live long stream just on that conversation alone. I don't know. I feel like James Jones.
Come on.
Mikal Bridges. Because James Jones is weird, man. James Jones is our GM, by the way.
I mean, I would agree.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know though.
Wait, did you say you'd prefer, you would rather trade Bridges?
No, I would sign Bridges to an extension.
Right. I mean, that's where I'm at. You can get more for Ayton too, I think.
Do you have to sign Bridges yet?
Yeah, I think his extension's coming up. I think both of them are.
Oh, that's rough. But
yeah.
I mean,
and we have Chris Paul and Devin Booker still on huge contracts. What are we going to do?
Hey, trust James Jones.
Trust James Jones.
I mean, if you lose Ayton, bro, how are you going to make up for his defense? Like, even though you said you're a critic of the Suns' defense, like, you can't deny without him that it's going to be rough. And I feel like the only team that gives the Suns problems is a healthy Lakers squad. Like, obviously, there's other teams that I think could beat them, but I would not pick the Suns over the Lakers, but I would pick the Suns over every other Western Conference team, and I would pick them in 5 games against the Jazz, because the Jazz are just regular season frauds if I've ever seen them.
Thank you.
Terrible. And but that's just my thoughts.
By the way, we have been live for about 53 minutes. We have about 47 people in here. Thank you guys so much for wasting your time and watching our all over the place live stream. We're live with Romp 2.0 and the Daily Drip. I appreciate you guys both being here. You guys are awesome. This has been a kind of an all over the place live stream. Romp, thank you so much for helping me carry this live stream. Did you want to go back to that Tyrese Maxey and Javon Carter conversation? Because I thought Tyrese Maxey played well tonight. He was attacking. He looked good, man. I don't think the Suns really had them on their scouting report, because he was getting like anything out there, in my opinion.
Steven, tell them my prediction.
Okay.
You remember it.
I knew it. And I was going to text you this, but I figured I'd wait till the live stream. I just wanted to point this out. Luke had pointed something out, I want to say a month or two ago, and it was right before Tyrese Maxey. I love him, by the way. One of my highest viewed videos, I said he was a steal of the draft. I love the kid. But, he hit that rookie wall in the middle of the season, and he was completely out of the rotation. And right before that happened, Luke had said, he was like, I think in the playoffs, there's going to be a scenario, as we all know, and we pointed out, the Sixers don't have a ball handler. They're going to turn to him, and he's going to just make something happen. And tonight he did that, right? It was a big stage. He was awesome. Like he's got like, it's one thing to be quick, but he's got like a burst to his game. Like he just takes off and elevates to the rim. Like I love him. And his shot, I know he was 0 of 3 from 3, but it looks to be improved. He looks a lot more confident in his shot. He's taking deep threes. So
at least he shoots it.
At least he shoots it. Absolutely. I said that correctly, right, Luke? That was basically your prediction, right?
Yeah. But you go on. Sorry.
No, the point I was going to make about how I connected that to Javon Carter, this was a back and forth game, and I felt like there was like a 2 or 3 possession stretch where Javon Carter just hit it was 2 or 3 straight corner threes, and Maxey kind of got caught in no man's land. Am I mad at him? Yeah, but I mean, he's at the same time, it's a rookie. These things happen. I felt like that was really the turning point of this game in the fourth quarter. Obviously, he came back in, did his thing, but I felt like that stretch right there. I just want to know more about Javon Carter. I know he was a guy who went to school. I think he went 3 or 4 years, and it's another one of those guys. You have 2 of them on your roster, 2 guys that went to school really long, and everybody's like, oh, these guys are old. They're not going to get much better, but I watched tonight. Carter and Bridges, these guys are phenomenal. I would do anything to have both guys.
Cam Johnson.
My only issue with Carter is there was a sequence in the game where Chris Paul threw it to him and he didn't shoot it right away, and it kind of ruined the flow of the offense.
A little too unselfish.
And
he turned the ball over too.
That made me feel like I was watching Seth Curry because he does that at least 55 times a game. So I kind of felt bad for Suns fans. But if Javon Carter's in the game, he's got to shoot that confidently. And even he had one time in the corner where he was like, should I shoot it? Should I shoot it?
Yeah.
And then he finally shot it and made it. It's like, dude, just fire. You're out there to make threes and play defense. That's all you got to do. If you don't make them, whatever.
It's funny you say that, Ron, because Monty Williams talked to Javon Carter about that. He said, dude, you just need to let it fly. Mm-hmm. And he has. Carter's been playing a little bit better because Carter lost his spot in the rotation. And he just came back. We all know what he can do on defense. He's a great defender, but the guy's kind of like Romp. You laugh every time I say this, but it's like Javon Carter's kind of a firecracker on offense, and that reminds me of Tyrese Maxey. I remember doing a little scouting with him before the draft. I'm like, this guy can just light it up like that, and that's what Tyrese Maxey is. Too bad Shake Milton hasn't been playing like that. I know Shake Milton was Romp's favorite player. Romp, that was your favorite player.
I have a sweatshirt. I'm not wearing that for at least a month. And it's pretty chilly here right now for some reason.
Yeah, it is. Summer. What's up with this weather, man?
No, it's ridiculous. But Tyrese Maxey can get to the basket against anyone as a rookie. I'm more confident that he's going to reach his potential than Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons just doesn't have the desire to be great, while Maxey.
Yeah, how about it? You're hearing about Maxey he's in the gym all the time. I follow him on Instagram. He's posting right? The workout doesn't count if you don't post it on social media, right? I mean, we know the off-season workouts, but no, the kid's displaying it in the games.
Yeah, you could tell he's making adjustments. He's not going like there's one possession he went crazy and had a turnover, but his change of speed's looking better. Mm-hmm. He looks like he actually wants to be great. So that's why I'm like, dude, I'm sick of Ben Simmons not working and improving his game. Sorry, Ben.
I love how disgusted Luke. Man, Luke just like
my best friend. Like he's like, dude, there's no going back. If Simmons does well in the playoffs, I'm not allowing you to jump back on. And I was like, dude, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. If he plays well in the playoffs, believe me, I'm gonna make a Stan Ben Simmons account. I want to be the number one Simmons fan. That's how I am. I'm holding my star accountable.
That's why I kind of have a lot of respect for Sixers fans because Romp has really opened my eyes to holding your stars accountable. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm like, I really wonder. I wish I could see it in hindsight. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in the future in the NBA playoffs for Ben Simmons because I want to see how the guy performs. Because what if he does step it up especially if you guys need him. What if he steps it up and the Sixers are just cruising to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Hey,
you
dude,
guys know what he can do statistically. That's my whole thing is his stats. Go ahead, Romp.
Hey, bro, it's a win-win for me. I've been saying he's the most overrated player. He does bad. I'm right. He proves me wrong. We win the championship. I'm happy. So I'm a smart
you're
analyst.
Right either way.
I'm a smart analyst.
It's reverse psychology, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Why do you think I've been saying the Nets are coming out of the East all this time?
Oh,
Sixers, Sunzy, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I got ripped to shreds one day on Twitter because I basically I kind of bowed down to the Nets, and they, you know how Philly fans are, they ripped me to shreds, and it's kind of
I've been there. We've all been.
It's a strategy,
before.
man.
It's
a strategy of mine.
We've all been there before.
We'll leave it at that.
Sixers Twitter, bro.
You know what? Like I was telling Romp, I was like, dude, even if they are healthy, I'm like, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and James Harden can give you 90 points just like that. You know what I mean? So
I'm not scared of the Nets.
Oh, I'm terrified, man.
I'm not scared of the Nets. I'm be real. I think our defense will not stop them, but I think it will handle them enough. And who's stopping Embiid? You think in order to stop Embiid in the past, the Toronto Raptors, one of the best defensive teams in the league, even with the trash roster, but they had to triple team Embiid, and they had to be precise with it. Every possession, you got to do it. You got to be quick with it. I don't believe James Harden and Kevin Durant and Kyrie are going to have the stamina and the discipline to defend Embiid in a 7-game series. He averaged 30 points with a shitty roster against the Celtics last year in the playoffs, and everyone's saying Embiid doesn't perform well in the playoffs.
Oh, don't even get me started.
He was a plus 60 in the Toronto Raptors series. If we didn't have Greg Monroe as our backup, we probably would have won the championship that year.
Former Suns legend Greg Monroe.
And he averaged 30 in the playoffs with absolutely no spacing last year. I don't believe the Nets have enough discipline to guard Embiid. I'm more scared of the Heat. I'm going to be real because Jimmy Butler is going to annihilate us because he's that type of person where he played for us and
he's a dog.
we basically pick Simmons over Butler. So he's going to just annihilate us. I'm more afraid of the Heat. Plus Bam can actually contend one-on-one with Embiid.
Steven, before we get your thoughts on that, we've been live for an hour. If you guys want to keep going, that's awesome. If not, it is all good. If you guys are still here, which I appreciate you guys watching, we got about 50 people. That is awesome. Make sure to Hulk smash that like button, just like Orlando in the chat says. And thank you to everybody in the chat. It's been hard to keep up with the chat because you guys are just absolutely killing it. I appreciate any and all support. You guys are awesome. Hulk smash that like button. Make sure to follow Romp 2.0 and the Daily Drip. Links are down below in the description. And go talk Sixers with them because they clearly know way more than I do about the Sixers. So, Steven, do you have any thoughts on what Romp was talking about?
Yeah, again, this is the fan in me. So for whatever reason, I really believed in that Sixers team last year going into the postseason. And I'm just so tired of being that fan that's like, oh man, nobody's stopping us. We're going to win no matter what, like regardless. Right. And like this season has been so special as a Sixers fan. Like I never envisioned us being this good. It brings me back to 2017 with the Eagles. And I was that fan, you know, when the Eagles were like 12-0 or 12-1 at one point, and everybody's like, oh man, we're going to the Super Bowl. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here terrified because I'm like, guys, please just calm down. I don't want this to unravel. So that's where I'm at. Like I'm nervous because I'm scared. I believe in the Sixers. I think they can do it. And I never envisioned them being this good. So I'm personally, I'm crazy. All right. If you watch my videos, you know, I'm a wild Sixers fan, but I would agree with Romp on that Miami Heat point. I actually wanted to ask you, because Suns Geek, you come off like me. Like the Suns from my perspective, have far exceeded expectations this year. Top 2 team in the West. And I certainly think like this is a year based off of what I've seen from the West. I could see the Suns coming out of the West. I don't see why they couldn't do that. I mean, you look at the only roadblock would be the Lakers, in my opinion, and their health is kind of up in the air, you know, like AD, like people don't want to admit this, but this guy's been pretty injury prone, man. Like if he gets hurt, you know,
I love Anthony Davis, but he has.
So I was just going to ask you, like, where are you at in terms of, like, how do you feel about the Suns coming out of the West? Do you feel they can do it? Like, where do you feel about that?
I mean, obviously the fanboy in me is saying we're going to win the chip. I was saying we were going to win the championship before the NBA bubble happened, you know what I mean? But the realistic side of me is there are teams that scare me, man. I mean, I whispered it when you were talking. I said the Clippers, man, they are a great matchup for us. They seem to sometimes bring out the worst in us. And I feel like they might be a dark horse to come out of the West. And you are right. I mean, the Lakers are obviously great. They have great size. They're a great defensive team. Even if they just had LeBron, you know they have a chance to go to the finals because it's LeBron James. But there's other teams that I haven't even mentioned that do scare me in the playoffs. But I will say this, there was somebody that made like a poll, like a bunch of Suns fans voted on like where the Suns would be at this point of the season. And a lot of Suns fans didn't even really have us winning like 50 games. I think it was only a select few. I had us at like 45 wins. I knew we'd be a good team. But, man, just thinking of the Suns going to the Western Conference Finals has to be a realistic expectation.
Ooh.
And, obviously for the players, it's championship or bust. Even before we got Chris Paul, that's how every team should think. Even though realistically that's not the case. But hopefully I'm not going off topic, and hopefully I answered the question. But there are some teams that scare me, but I think if we are fully healthy and if the Suns can hit their threes and if Deandre Ayton can be the Deandre Ayton that we've seen lately, we will go super far in the playoffs.
I agree with your Clippers take because
they scared
Kawhi
me.
last year wasn't himself. And now that they got Rondo, a nice point guard next to him, Kawhi is going to dominate. And especially against the Suns, I don't think, even though Mikal can match up with him in the regular season, in the playoffs, I think Kawhi would dominate the Suns, because he would just get to the foul line whenever he wanted to. I mean, we saw it firsthand, Steven. We saw Kawhi dominate Tobias, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. So last year was a fluke for Kawhi. I think people are sleeping on that. And he's been load managing, doing his thing that he usually does. So,
and people
Clippers
like to
are
pick on
definitely
Paul
scary.
George too. They just like to pick on him because he's Paul George,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Everyone forgets about his run with the Pacers, and everyone needs to chill with that because that was literally my childhood, bro.
And honestly, the Thunder too. I thought he had like an MVP type season that one year with the Thunder. In my opinion,
Romp, you're like
before
12 years old.
The playoffs.
No, I agree with you, Steven. Paul George is probably one of the more overlooked players. Pick on him all you want, slander him all you want. He is great.
Just stupid, in my opinion.
But the Clippers are just a good team, man. Like I said, they bring out the worst in the Suns. I remember our first matchup with them. They were killing us in the first half. We were down by like 30. Now, granted, we did come back in that game, and that shows how deep of a team we are. But, man, I think they beat us last time, and that was like a few games ago. Oh, by the way, you guys, if you guys want to, I don't know how much longer you guys want to keep going. I would love to look at the rest of your schedule and ours, and then we could probably close it out on that if you guys would like.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, man.
By the way, we need the 1 seed because I got some statistical facts from the Romp.
Let's go.
If you want to go ahead and say that while I'm pulling up the schedules, man, go ahead.
So first off, Deandre Hayden versus Embiid.
Oh, God.
Embiid averages 37 points a game against him.
Wow.
Deandre Hayden averages 15 against him. Last game, Booker had 36 against the Sixers. In this game, he had clutch buckets at the end. He had 6 points in the fourth quarter. So shout out to Booker for stepping up in the clutch. Embiid had 35 against the Suns last time. And tonight he had like 41, I think, or whatever. I wrote in my notes, Shake Milton is a disgrace to the Philadelphia 76ers organization. Frank Kaminsky was starting for the Suns last time we played you guys.
We are 11-2 when Frank Kaminsky starts.
That's
I don't
crazy
know if you knew that, Steven. We are 11-2 when he starts. Yeah.
And my point is,
that makes sense. I mean,
the Suns and Sixers need home court. Not necessarily the Suns because they're really good. They're one of the best. They're the best away team, actually.
Yeah, we have a really good road record.
The Sixers are 53-10 over the last 2 seasons at home. 53-10. in
You
10.
guys
Well,
are a
53 and 11
great
now.
home team.
And the Suns are 23 and 9 at home this season. So the 1 seed is very, very important. That's all I wanted to say. But those are my stats for the game.
Great stats and facts. Steven, you got anything to add to that before I get to the schedules? Because I have them right here, but if you got anything to add to that.
I mean, as a Sixers fan, I'm terrified. The last 15 games, we need that 1 seed, not just for the fact for a home court advantage, but I mean, obviously, there's still some games left. The seeds. I mean, there's a few teams that are within a game or two of each other, but there's a big difference, believe it or not, in the East from what I saw from being the 1 compared to the 2 seed, because you could look at a potential matchup in the second round.
Yes.
I think if the season ended today, we would get the winner of the Hawks and Celtics.
Oh my God.
And the
I mean, we
Hawks
match
have
up
been
great
playing good,
against
and
both.
the Celtics.
No, we would get the Hawks versus Knicks. That would be my biggest dream. Please,
Someone in the chat said the Knicks have won like 6 in a row or something like that.
I don't care. If we get the Hawks versus or Knicks in the second round, that is coasting to the freaking conference finals. So Knicks and Hawks, keep doing your thing, please. By the way, and Sixers, get healthy.
By the way, I'm like a bandwagon fan when it comes to the Knicks and the Hornets, because the Hornets have had an okay season, but they're just a fun league pass team to watch. But they've been playing pretty well. And the Knicks, you guys know, the NBA is better when the Knicks are good because it's New York. It's Madison Square Garden. They know what's up. But I want to start with the Sixers schedule here. I feel like you guys kind of have an easy schedule to finish the season. I mean, you play the Bucks twice, which tomorrow, by the way, you guys play the Bucks, but then you have a day off. I'm just kind of noting the better teams here. I'm not going to read the entire schedule. You play the Hawks twice. I would mention the Spurs, but they kind of been struggling. You got a lot of easy matchups against like the Spurs, Bulls, Rockets, Pelicans. And then your last 3 games are the Heat and then the Magic. So, like, I feel like you guys have an easy schedule. There might be some trap games in there. Just based off what I read, do you guys have any thoughts on your guys' end of the schedule? And then I'll eventually read the Suns' end of the schedule. Steven, you got anything on that?
Well, so I think we have 2 games coming up against the Bucks, right?
Yeah, back-to-back games against the Bucks, and then you play the Thunder and then the Hawks back-to-back.
I know we match up good against the Bucks, but for some reason in the regular season, I don't love our matchup just because, I mean, it's regular season basketball, and I think last time. It's the
end of the season, too, so players may not be fully engaged.
Yeah, so, just get the 1 seed. These are games they can absolutely win, whether guys play or not. I mean, other teams are going to sit guys out. I will note, though, like I said, big difference between being the 1 and the 2 seed in the East. There's a scenario where if you come out the 2 seed, you have to get through potentially the Bucks and or the Sixers or Nets to come out of the East. You'd have to face both teams. I mean, obviously depending, on the situation. So,
Romp, any thoughts on the schedule? Because we've talked about it before. I know nothing scares you, but what do you think of the schedule?
Our health scares me. If we're healthy, we'll take care of business. Could you guys please beat the Nets on Sunday? Like, that's all.
Hey, they're down a lot of players, man. But what scares me is, I've told you this, Romp. They've been winning without their best players.
Yeah, but they've been playing like the Pelicans G League teams,
Oh, and last time when we played the Nets, we were killing them in the first half.
That was James Harden.
And Harden took over, and Booker just had this look on his face like, I blew it. You know what I mean? Like, I have the picture on my phone. He was just like, I blew it.
Bro, you're slandering Booker tonight, bro. He's going to block you on Twitter.
That guy never tweets. But I don't know. So going to the Suns schedule here, and I understand if you guys don't have many thoughts on it. At first I thought this was a tough Eastern Conference gauntlet of a schedule. But, due to like injuries and circumstances, I think we've gotten kind of lucky. We play the Celtics next on the 22nd. The Nets, the Knicks, the Clippers, the Jazz. Those are 5 elite teams. Then we got some easy teams here and there. Then we verse the Hawks, the Knicks again, the Lakers, Warriors, Blazers, and Spurs twice. But I'll tell you this. I think if we lose like every game from here on out, we still make the playoffs. You know what I mean? And I can't see us falling past the 6th or the 7th seed. So, and obviously we wouldn't want to lose every single game like that, but we might struggle here and there. There might be a few trap games, and Chris Paul's the kind of guy, he's so competitive. He's not just going to sit out of games. He's only going to sit out if he's truly injured. Same thing with Devin Booker. This guy just wants to play. So
shout out to them.
Yeah, seriously.
I like that.
It's funny that I said that, because you kind of said that earlier too about George. No, it's Danny Green. You were like, shout out to Danny Green being 40 years old and playing every
plus he
game.
looks like he's got buckets on his feet when he runs, and he's still out there every night.
Yeah,
3-pointers. So shout out to Danny Green, bro. Oldest player on the roster, I think, and he's playing every night. Same with Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard's
he's got a lot of mileage, man. You know how many deep postseason runs he's been involved with?
That's why I'm like, is load management really helpful, or is it just that Chris Paul knows how to take care of his body and is really good with his health? Same with Danny Green. So like, plus you saw with Embiid, he's in way better condition this year, and there's been less injury issues besides that flukish scare that he had on a dunk attempt. So it's like load management, it's just them being babies at the end of the day. But just act like I didn't say that, because that'll piss people off. But
that's kind of why I like George Hill for you guys too. Like, I don't really know his track record with like injuries and stuff, but that guy he's a veteran in this league. I mean, Greg Popovich said he was like one of his favorite players of all time, like to ever play for him. He's a great player. He's been around the league for years, you know. And Danny Green too. I remember when Danny Green first went to you guys, I was telling Romp, I was like, this is a good move. This guy's won championships. You know, he can hit the three. Great veteran. On that note, I don't really know if I got anything else to talk about. You guys got anything else?
I'm good.
I will say it would be pretty fitting if we come back and this is the finals matchup, and we're on here after every single game.
Beautiful.
It'd be cool, wouldn't it?
It'd be great.
You guys think I'm drunk?
Speaking
now?
into existence
during those live streams.
I think those live streams would be so like we get after each other.
It might break you two.
It might break our friendship.
Yeah, Romp and I alone have had some heated debates, and I'm like, we should just go live when we talk.
Yeah,
because we always go into these heated debates with each other. I don't know. But on that note, you guys, I think I'm gonna end it there. I think this has been a good live stream. I'm sorry if it was all over the place. That's just how a Sons Geek live stream is. But shout out to you guys. I appreciate you being here. Romp, go ahead and tell them what you do on your channel. Tell them where to find you on social media.
I forget what my Twitter is. It's either official Romp or Romp 2.0.
It's official Romp, I think.
My YouTube's Romp 2.0. I just make videos on whatever I want to make in terms of basketball. So if you enjoy that, and also go check out the Valley podcast. I'm going to be on there after this, and it should be fun, you know? So definitely go check out the Valley podcast, the fastest growing podcast on Sun's YouTube universe.
Yes, those are some of my friends over there, the Valley podcast, Gabe, Coach Evan, and Salty. They do great work over there, because those guys, they just tell it how it is, man. You think I was criticizing Devin Booker, man? These guys just tell it how it is.
Man, that's my cup of tea right there.
Exactly. Go check them out. Go check out Romp 2.0. Links in the description. Steven, go ahead and tell them what you do and tell them where to find you on social media.
Yeah, man. So obviously I go by the Daily Drip here on the YouTube platform. Just basically Sixers and Eagles content. The NFL draft is coming up, so I'll be covering that. I'm sure the Eagles are going to pick a player I never heard of, and I will hop up on here and lose my mind. So obviously, yeah. And then other platforms, my real name's just Stephen Conrad Jr. Send me a follow. I'll send you one back, man. I'm always open to collab with anybody and everybody. I think this was fun. I enjoyed collaborating with somebody outside of the market. I mean, you're on the other side of the country, you know, so definitely something I'd like to experiment more with. And who knows, guys, maybe in the off season, right? There's not going to be much content. Maybe we can hop up on here and just talk NBA hoops, man. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
Always down.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on, man. I know that, you know, this is the first time you've been on the channel, and hopefully it's not the last time. I'd love to have you back on. Romp, sorry, bro. You've been canceled. I don't need you anymore. Romp, you know that I got love for you, man. I love the work that we do. By the way, our anniversary of our 1 year Javon Carter video that we first did, 1 year. It feels like a lifetime ago since we first did that video. That was the first video we ever did. What were you going to say, Romp?
I was gonna say, me and Steven are gonna start up the live streams definitely for the playoffs.
Oh
Yes.
heck yeah, dude!
And
This is what I've been waiting for, man. This is what I've been waiting
We've been
for.
lazy because Embiid's been out, Tobias is out every other day, and it's like you say the
Well, why
same.
should we show up if these guys are literally
Yeah,
just
like-
taking off?
Yeah, like
I'm
Simmons.
gonna take off too, man. Screw
Simmons
you.
is supposedly in a COD tournament tonight on Twitch, so it's like, come on, bro.
Oh,
No,
are you
I'm
serious?
kidding. I'm kidding.
People are
But
showing
yeah.
the Daily Drip some love. You got a couple subscribers,
Appreciate
man.
you guys.
Yep. And
Fire
on that
Howie.
note- what?
Oh, he
Fire
gets
Howie.
okay.
No
And
one
on-
understands in the chat.
Hey, I apologize when I hint when I talk like this is how you know I'm a Philly sports fan. A lot of times when I'm talking Sixers, I compare it to Eagles, vice versa. I'm not sure if you follow football at all, but this is just what you get, man. I mean, Philly sports literally drive me nuts, but also make me really happy at the same time. So
Yeah, just to put in perspective how lethal Philly fans are, at the Phillies game, they were chanting to fire the GM of the Eagles, just randomly. They're in like the fourth inning. They're
man.
going, fire Howie. That's how lethal it is in Philly. I
Oh, I
love
love it,
though.
man.
I really love it. It's a blessing and a curse, though, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of crazy fans.
Oh, correct. As we know on this platform.
Yeah.
Shout out to Philadelphia 76ers fans. Shout out to the Sixers and the Suns. Shout out to Romp 2.0 and the Daily Drip for joining me. Thank you guys so much. I can't thank you enough. Once again, check out the link in the description. Hulk smash the like button on this live stream, you guys. Appreciate you being here. And on that note, we are out of here. Make sure to subscribe. My name is Brandon, aka Suns Geek, and if it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. I'll see you guys next time.